All right, shall we start with the introductions first? I'll go with Dave first.
Thanks.
Closest to me, so go.
Dave Catlow, Sergeant in the Met Police South East area. I look after safe and neighbourhood teams around the Sick-Up area. For my sins, I'm the motor vehicle crime spot for the area, so it kind of involves theft from as well as theft of motor vehicles. Hence the work on the tool theft.
And Dave and me met in a funny way, so we'll explain that later down the show. Claire?
So I'm Clair from SelectaDNA. I look after the UK business, basically UK sales and business development, and a lot of that will involve the work that we do with the trades community and also police as well.
Nice. Mark Connolly?
Yeah, hello, Mark Connolly. I'm the inspector for Havering South. My job is the motor vehicle lead within Havering, and I'm also involved in leading on burglary as well. And of course, I met Dave because we did an operation around boot sales, and that led into tool theft and so forth.
Okay, so that's all the intros done. For the tradespeople out there, just to introduce myself, I think pretty much a lot of people already know all the work that I've been doing for about a year or so on tool theft, but to be precise, I think it's been over 400 odd days, more than 450 days actually, where I have always stopped a minute when it comes to tool theft and all the things that go around. I'm really grateful to be sitting here with police officers because a year ago I had no idea that I would even get to this stage. You know, to sit in them, actually work with them on certain things, see the car boot raids and seeing so much happening. It's just incredible. And for me, it's just an honour to even be in this position and just thank all the people. But still, there is a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of tool theft. And we're here just to discuss this and see what the police is actually doing around this. Because a lot of questions get asked. What are the police doing? What do they do with the tools? What's going to happen next? Are these guys that have been caught going to be convicted, or all these questions that we keep getting on social media, because social media is big and the word's really spread out there. Millions of people have seen these posts. I mean, on mine alone, I think I had a viewing of 5 to 6 million in a matter of a few weeks after the car boot sales. And when people saw things that started to move, police get involved, it just sort of restores tradespeople's faith in the system. That's something is getting done, and before the perception about the police has always been negative especially from tradespeople, because the amount of times they've been broken into, and they think police are not going to do anything, they're not going to turn up, and it still is that way. But to a certain degree, I think we've sort of changed it around. Now we're seeing more positive comments, and that's a really good thing. So I'll just pass it on to Dave and just see what we're doing on the police side of things and what needs to be done.
Yeah, I think we've always been doing work on it. If I'm honest, we've probably not been very good at advertising the good work we have done on occasions. There's always been work going on. Yes, we've certainly been doing a lot more recently, especially following on from when in fact, that's probably a good opportunity for you to explain where we first met, 'cause that's quite a good story, that. But you imagine when we had that first conversation and we were saying, you know, we want to almost change a culture within the trades world around marking tools and the importance of it and how it helps us out. And now roll on, a year, 18 months, we're now in that position where most people out there get the idea around forensic marking.
Yeah, because initially I didn't get the concept. When you spoke to me about tool marking, I was not interested. I didn't want to know. Honestly, I hung up on him. I ignored him, didn't open his messages, and it was just the point where he kept on messaging me and saying, look, I've got to show you this stuff and it's really important. And I said, well, the thing is, if my tools get stolen, I have to go and buy them the next day to carry on with my job. And by the time you're going to call me back about my tools, it's too late. I need to get on with this job, so it doesn't really make any sense. But then when I met you and then he explained to me the importance of marking your tools is it helps with convictions, you know, it puts thieves off from doing it. And there's a whole bigger picture behind it, which I never got, to be honest with you. And after seeing one of your tool marking events and turning up to it, I was quite impressed with this, with SelectaDNA myself. And I thought, wow, this is something different. I've not seen anything like it. And it just came from there. And when I saw the bigger picture, obviously David explained it to me, and that from there onwards, we've done a few events, and I've turned up just to see
quite a few.
And every person that saw it was, honestly, they were just shocked by it. And they said, wow, what is this stuff? Because it's so impressive to see all your information on a tiniest micro dot that you can't even see, and it doesn't affect the way your tool looks as well. You can't see it's on there, and it's just incredible. And I think from there, I said, right, this message makes sense to me, and then let's pass it on to on socials and get it spread across. And we're at a stage now where I think I've done about 12 or 13 events so far. Thousands of kits have gone out.
Yeah.
If you could just multiply how many tools have been marked, it just really goes to show. And also, after the couple of raids that they've done, we've actually found items with SelectaDNA on them, and the fact that they've been returned to the rightful owners just makes a statement that how important marking your tool is.
And we're now starting to see those rewards, aren't we now?
Exactly.
We're starting to see the benefits.
Honestly, even 5 to 10% of the tradespeople start marking the tools. That's a lot of number of tools. And to go to a car boot and then see all this stuff being marked, it doesn't waste police's time as well, because if they turn up, nothing's marked, they can't get anywhere with it. And that's what I'm trying to explain to the tradespeople. It's difficult. They need to understand what a daunting task this is to even go through the tools, because I've seen them in the compounds piled up. And I'm thinking, even I know what all of these things are, but to go through each one of them, write the serial numbers down, can't find the owners, then store them and then deal with our issues, it's just so much easier if you can just get returned to people.
Yeah. And I think it's generated a lot of noise internally as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to sit here and discuss all the proactive stuff we've been doing and are about to do. But for obvious reasons, we don't really want to give the game away too much around that. So it's easier for us to talk about the sort of proactive crime prevention side of things. Yeah. And you're right, it's just come on leaps and bounds.
I think at a really basic level, we need to work together. The community came to us, the trades came to us and said, our vans are being broken into, what are you doing about it? But from our perspective as well, we need trades to get on board, to mark their tools, to help us to secure those prosecutions against the bad. But we don't just want to seize items that we think are suspected stolen, and then at the end of the investigation we've had no victims or anyone come back. So we need that evidence to be able to progress something. So I think that's one of the reasons why we're really here today, and we're with you, Claire, as well. There are multiple products out there at the moment. SelectaDNA have been really good at supporting, some of the proactive work that we've done. They've been really good at supporting the trades as well, and their product works. And we've seen that when we've done the boot sales and we've actually found the product on it. But we also need the trades to buy into that and understand our perspective as we go through this process.
Yeah.
I think as well, the tool marking events, obviously we've just come from one just now, is a really good example of how we can achieve that. And I think what is amazing since a year ago when we first met, and when we sat around the table, is all of the amazing companies that have come on board to support the campaign as well. And we can't do that without them. CT1, Wix, today we're at Travis Perkins. It's just so important. And actually, if we look at those assets that were seized from some of those raids, we're not just talking about tradespeople's tools. We're talking about expensive surveying equipment. We're talking about equipment that's used for critical infrastructure projects. So actually, we need to think about those other companies that also need to kind of join this as well in terms of, proactively marking them. And as a business, we work really proactively with those companies to get them to mark them, so they, you've got a chance of identifying them when you're doing the raids as well. So I think it's great from a year ago to now where we've come, but like you say, there's so much more that we need to do around the awareness.
I know a lot of people ask the question of how long has Selecta been around. They think it's something new.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell?
40 years this year, 40-year anniversary in terms of the business.
Yeah.
Party.
Hopefully, yeah. SelectaDNA though, 20 years. So Selecta Mark, the parent company's 40 years. But yeah, it's not a new technology. And actually we're talking about marking tools, but it also can mark any other property that's vulnerable to theft, as well as marking offenders. So, if we think about bigger construction companies, for example, they will mark tools, equipment, surveying equipment with SelectaDNA, but then they'll protect their vehicles with spray systems. So if anybody was to target them, the offenders would be sprayed as well, and we can link them to that offence. Again, it's helping Mark, it's helping Dave, it's helping police. We have to collaborate. There's no way we're going to be able to achieve anything by working in silos and putting blame on each other to say, police need to do this, trades need to do that. It really is about partnership working, and I think what has been achieved just in the last 12 months has been incredible, and really, that's really down to you, Shoaib. So, well done.
Yeah, really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's no secret, what we're going through at the moment with financial cost cuts, etc. And any easy win.
Yeah,
is a bonus
I
for
totally
us.
understand it, because obviously speaking to you so many times, meeting you, meeting Mark, meeting all the other police officers and whatnot, and I totally understand where the cost side of things comes up. Even to do an operation on certain things is time, staff, money, cost, and then the aftermath of dealing with all the tools, and comes at a storage cost. There's so many costs involved which people need to understand. But ultimately, what I'm glad about is they are actually doing something. Like there was a new, I think last week, Cheshire Police got involved. I've never spoken to them. And to see them go to a car boot and make arrests, and you think, oh, I was only working with the Met, and now it's Cheshire Police. And it's just incredible to see how other police forces are getting involved and doing things more actively. And then there was one in London, I can't remember what police force that was, that went to Vauxhall Market or something.
Yes.
Again, they were a different team.
Over West End.
Just people that I've not met, and I've seen all these online. It's just incredible just to see the snowball effect of they're seeing this happen, so all eyes are now going towards the right place. And for me, car boot sales, I say it on TV, I say it on the news, I say it is the number one reason for tool theft, because they've got the right platform to get rid of all this. So it's not just tool theft, it's retail theft. Every theft that you can think of, you'll find at the car boot sale. That's wrong, because it's not regulated and there's no checks on this place. Everything's no traceability, cash in hand, and thieves find it the best place to get rid of this stuff because they know they've got more coming, so they need to just get it out.
Although we've done the initial operations in Havering, there's more work to be done around this. Definitely, there's more work with the local authority, trading standards, independent companies. Everyone needs to come together, and like you say, the organisers of those events. Some of this is legal. Obviously, as proven, there is illegal activity that is taking place down there, which is why we acted on it. Trading standards acted on it. The local authorities joined up in Havering, and we just need that to ripple across
Different
forces as well. And we're beginning to see that. I'm beginning to have people contact me. Dave has had people contacted from other forces to say, on a really basic level, if we can do some enforcement around that, then get some property marking done. Yeah. Get everybody on board, all the trades, all the different peoples from all the residents, good, honest people that want to earn an honest living, all on board, then that will eradicate the minority, or certainly reduce the minority of bad people out there. Let's be honest, that we want to catch, we want to prosecute, and you don't want stealing your tools, or you don't want them around. So we need to send a very clear message that we won't tolerate it.
And also, I think for people watching, listening, to contact their local police teams, contact their local police crime commissioner, their local MPs. If they've got an issue with a boot sale, make contact, try and drive that change. And get that going, but we're certainly not here to say we want to close down all boot sales. There's a decent.
I've got nothing against car boot sale itself.
Yeah,
if a car boot sale remains as a car boot sale, I've got no issue with it because it's a part of British heritage. I think it's been going on for years. Everyone enjoys it. I even enjoy a car boot sale. I used to go with the kids.
And there's honest people there. There's honest people trying to make an honest living.
Exactly. There is some really good people, and you want to get rid of your stuff at home, and you really want a place like that to be that place, and not a retail place. There should be a difference between a car boot and a retail car park, a retail park. So there's got to be differences. But if they think this is the new retail park and let's do business here instead, I think that's wrong, and that shouldn't be happening in the first place. But I was going to say, in terms of the good thing is that the tradespeople and police are sort of working together on certain things, which is really good. Not just myself, but there's other tradespeople that are trying to get involved with their local police teams and get things done. I think it's really good, and same for the police as well. So if it's Met Police, Essex Police, Kent Police, if they can work together as well, because I know they've got limited resources, if they can sort of join forces.
Look at today.
Just like yourself.
We didn't arrange that today.
No.
That's a tradesperson off their own back, making contacts, and suddenly get sponsorship for kits.
Yeah.
We turn up, we've come along and supported it, along with Hertfordshire Police.
Yeah.
And we've had to do none of that organising. It's brilliant, and this is what we want. We want this to ripple out and to roll out and other people to get involved.
So this is the trouble I have now, where I've been doing this for, God knows, a year and a half, and obviously I've been fighting it for so long. My only thing is tradespeople come back to me and say, can we do an event up in Birmingham? Can we do one in Manchester? You know, it's easy to say that to me, but why are they not actively getting involved, writing to the MPs? Why are they not doing it? Why is everything left on my shoulders? And it's a lot for me to take because I've got a full-time job as well. I work as well. People don't see that.
Sorry, I've been directing them your way.
Yeah, I know.
Am I not meant to be sending them letters?
Should we stop those emails?
Right,
now?
okay.
Those out of office replies. If it's involving tool marking, please contact Schweb.
But you can imagine how much I've got to deal with. Honestly, it's a lot of pressure. I've got to speak to the police. I've got to deal with the tool marking side, then the social media side, then my own work, my own customers, the family. I've got so much on my plate. It's just nice to see, like Steve from SB Multi-Trade, he took his own initiative. You know, he went from his own back, arranged this all today. And it was a great turnout. There was DeWalt there, Blip Insurance paid for the kits, CT1 paid for the kits. You know, all these companies were there and all this turnout. It's just great to see someone's done that. And if everyone starts doing that in their own areas, I think it's brilliant. And if they want any help, we're here with DNA and myself. I'll show them exactly what they need to do these events. I think Mark and we were on the call with the local authority as well, and we're trying to arrange 2 events in our local area as well in Romford, which we haven't done so far. So that'll be something coming up as well. Probably there's a couple of days that they're trying to do in July. So stuff like that, it's really good.
And it's different guiding and advising than organising and running, isn't it? And it allows you to actually reach out more if you're actually organising the event. It takes a lot more focus.
There's a lot of work that goes into that as well. I think that people don't see. You think that we just rock up with a
gazebo
and hand out some items and so forth.
Yeah.
There isn't. It does take meetings, organisation. We've got another inspector, Jayshree Patel. She's helped with the operation. She's been fantastic. She helped me. Dave's helped me. You've got the chief inspector, Charlie Routley. He's there. He's organising that as well. And we have to make sure that it's done correctly in order to be effective. And then that's where working with partners and working with yourself really helps. But I do think, like you say, I can tell you feel the pressure. It's something that you're very passionate about and you'll continue to drive forward, but other people need to step up as well. Other people, like Dave said, need to contact the local police and crime commissioners. They need to contact the local authorities, and then we need to work together to achieve that common goal. That's how we're going to affect change.
Exactly, and this is where everyone has to get involved. And there's so many passionate people out there, but they just sit there and clap. Oh, well done. You've done a great job, Schweb. I get that. But
the framework's there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's there. So why are you not doing it? Why have you not written to your MPs yet? Because the more pressure you're going to put on them, that is when change is going to happen. And that's when the law changes, because they're the ones, it's all in their hands, which people don't understand.
We don't just want the MPs to contact the police and say, what are you doing about it? Not saying that that's what they're going to do, but that's not the answer. They need to actually say, right, local authority, can you sit down? Can you sit down with SelectaDNA? Can you sit down with the police? Can you sit down with the trading standards? They need to look at a multi-prong approach to solving this issue.
Yeah, definitely.
As opposed to just pushing it in one direction and saying, well, police, you solve this because there must be a crime being committed there. They need to think a little bit wider.
I think, Sussex Police and Crime Commissioner Katie Bourne, she did exactly that. I think signposting the PCCs are, really receptive to these type of things as well. Bringing Checker Trade in. We were there. It was at Wicks, and then it's looking at other projects as well. So I know that she'll signpost to rural crime and other crime types as well. But I think PCCs will be incredible to get them engaged.
Absolutely.
And other partners as well. What we've done as well, recognising that there's quite a lot of demand in terms of people wanting events. So we get a lot of requests for the north. There's been a lot going on in the south, but actually not a lot in the north. But like you say, we're not event organisers, so it's how could we make that happen? But we've put together like a best practice tool marking guide. So if a company does approach us and says, right, actually, we want to put on a tool marking event, what do we do? We've never done it before. There's
To Schweb.
Well, Schweb's name is on there. Direct dial, out of hours number, the lot. And again for police as well, because actually, the Met have been doing so many great events, not only around the proactive piece, but also the enforcement around the car boot raids as well. But actually, to replicate that through our other forces, we've got that in place as well. So we can provide that to police, we can provide that to companies. So signpost them to us as well, because we can support with that in terms of making it a streamlined, consistent process that is done in the right way so that it's effective, and that, you know, our objective of what we want to get it marked, but we want to do it correctly.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, just a quick thing, I want to come back to this kit. You've got the secure asset register on there as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of companies out there now contacting me that we've got this app we can list all your items on. So I just want to see what the difference is with anything else that's out there and with the secure register. So what is behind the secure register? Why should people list their stuff in there?
So I think, well, firstly, within the kit, obviously, well, this kit here, tools and equipment kit, marks 50 items. You get stickers to deter it. So first and foremost, it's about prevention. We want to prevent it from happening in the first place by putting stickers on the tools, putting your stickers on the vans, or if you keep them in a workshop. But within that kit as well, you get lifetime registration. So you're not having to use a kit to mark it and then use a separate registration. It's all in one kit. As I say, we've been around for 40 years as a business.
And it's a secure place.
It's a secure asset register, which is accessible to police 24/7.
Yeah.
Police, you know, to give an example, you could have equipment that's seized in London but was actually stolen in Scotland, and that database will provide that information instantly to police to be able to identify who that belongs to. So they're not going to then have to be ringing through to different forces to say, you know, who dealt with this crime number. Straight away, they've got access to the information of that victim and the owner of that item. So it's very efficient, very quick. And there are other functions on there as well. So we've got like a property checker. So if somebody marks their tools and then they've got an overt label on there as well that's got the DNA code on, if that is reported as stolen, that could be checked on our property checker by any member of the public. So when we're talking about car boot sales, if you're going around and you can see on a tool that's got a DNA code with it on the label as well, they could put that into the property checker. And if that has been, you know, reported as stolen on the database, then it will come up straight away to the member of the public. So it doesn't have to be a police officer. So there's lots of different functionality within it. From a trades perspective as well, it's free. It's incorporated within the kit, and there's no ongoing costs.
It won't give the owner's details, obviously, to the member of the public. It will just flag up that it's stolen. But the police will have more in-depth
they're going
detail
into
of
it.
course, yeah.
But again, one of these kits can mark up to 50 tools. That in technically works out £1 a tool, which is not a lot of money compared to what they spend on their tools.
Yeah.
So this is what people got to understand. They think it can only mark a couple of things. It's not. It can mark up to 50 tools.
Yeah.
I think I've done all my tools in the van. I still got some leftover liquid.
The thing is as well, and we've seen it at some of the tool market events where people might have multiple vans with tools in, or they're larger companies. There's commercial kits as well. So it doesn't have to just be about that kit.
Yeah.
The other parts of it, in terms of linking in with the police as well, we have trained dogs in being able to detect our solutions. So you know, some of your videos that you would have seen at the recent car boot raids was the use of the SelectaDNA search dog. So we as a company want to invest not only in the solutions, but also providing tools for the police to be able to, you know, effectively look for it, and without necessarily having to scan with UV torches, send the dog in and the dog be able to detect anything.
Speeds it up.
Yeah.
And Shoaib, you said earlier, what can people do? Well, buy one of those kits, mark your tools up. It's a smaller minority of people that are committing a large percentage of the crime.
Yeah.
The more kits that are marked, the more tools that are marked, the more property that's marked, the higher the chance that when we do stop these individuals, and we will catch them, when we do stop them, we're able to identify them, and then we're able to prosecute them. That's the important bit, you know. And I know that a lot of people will be looking at, you know, what prosecutions come from the arrest that we made at the Bonza boot sale and the Willow Farm. And we've got a team that are working on that to ensure that we hope to secure prosecutions for them. And then it will be us handing it over to, you know, the criminal justice system and to see what comes from that. And that's a separate topic in itself. But if people use these kits and mark those tools, that small minority responsible from a large quantity of those crimes, we will catch, we will prosecute, and hopefully we will put behind bars and send a very clear message.
We'll look at only 3-4 days ago, we got an email from another victim. Now that boot sale was what, 3-4 4 weeks ago, something like that. And a few days ago, we got an email from a victim saying he'd seen it on Stolen Tools UK. He'd seen his bag and his kit, and he was like, that's definitely mine.
And that's why we're here. That's why we're here to talk about this. I don't think
That's
you
another
see
victim.
too many police officers on podcasts these days, but why not?
It's
Why
probably
not?
the first time
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Why,
Well, we were together on one, but but it started recently, hasn't it? I haven't
Yes.
seen it before. Oh, when you said about what was it just now?
small minority of people.
Prosecution.
Prosecution.
No, tradespeople in general would always say, "Oh, they're just going to let them off, £50 fine, this stuff like." But honestly, we need to know that's not the case. I suppose they're still
No, but if we've
will
got
go
something
through.
marked,
Exactly.
we've got something marked, and we've got something tangible that we can work with, evidential.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's 6 victims. It's not just one offence here. It's six different offences, 6 different victims.
And I can guarantee that it will ripple because it's a small minority of individuals that are doing this. And we'll start taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it won't take long for that to then continue rippling across, bringing the right people in, and the crime will go down, and tools will stop. Start becoming more undesirable to steal off trades.
I think it's also important to note that it isn't just tools that this is marked with. There's people using this on cables and all sorts of infrastructure. So we could arrest someone for a shoplifting offence, bring them into custody, put the UV light on, and suddenly we're linking them on their skin, their clothing, to a linked series of cable thefts worth tens of thousands of pounds. They are going away now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's
They
got
might not have gone away
unique
for the
barcodes
shoplifting.
in it.
Yeah. And suddenly we've linked them to a more serious offence. So, there's so many products that are out there that have got forensic marking on them that, again, it's that easy win for us. We might make a basic arrest, but that can then link on to something more serious.
And inevitably, we've seen in some of the cases as well where that has been the case.
Yeah.
And it starts with a boot sale.
Yeah.
I think as well, when you think about, and you touched upon it, Schweb, some of the other items that have been located at the car boot sales come from retail outlets. So, and again, going back to Dave's point, absolutely, this has been used in the same manner that it is for tools, but for retail goods, so goods that are vulnerable to theft. And the Met, again, had a great success in its use, £150,000 worth of stolen retail goods seized through the marking of stock and arrests made as well. So, they almost are running in parallel with each other, but actually have some real commonality between them in the fact that these goods have been found at car boot sales. So, from our perspective, it's about thinking about the bigger picture as to they're not just specific to tools. It might be vehicles, might be cable, it might be retail.
Some of the things that have been marked.
Yeah,
some really wonderful
exactly.
things.
Yeah.
So this is a tool. This is our battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not defeatist. If you turn around and say, "Well, nothing's going to happen," that's just defeatist.
Yeah.
Letting them win.
Yeah.
Let's not let them win.
No.
Yeah.
Let's go get them
It's
together.
shocking.
Yeah.
It's shocking how you see what other things they're into. So we saw them selling tools one week, then we see them selling olive oil, then we see them selling baby milk.
Fresh salmon on a sunny,
Fresh.
hot day.
Fresh.
Well, God knows where it come from, out of a cool box, I hope. But there was a slab of salmon, wads and wads of salmon. They must have just come out the shop that day, stolen out the shop that day. But
Yeah, what's wrong with people? Why would you even consider
buying
that
fresh fish.
off of those individuals?
Yeah.
These are just not nice people. They will steal from you.
But then
why would you buy from them?
But that brings
Yeah.
on to a
Wrong
good
with
point.
people.
Clearly, people are buying from them, which is why they're doing it. So then that also goes out to some of these trades. It's so tempting, and I get it. You've had all your van cleared out. You can't afford to replace those tools. How many times have you heard it where trades go, well, I go down to the boot sale and you can get it cheaper.
Right.
It's kind of refueling it.
This is where I say that might be wrong, because a tradesperson that's went and studied it, has learnt the trade, bought a van, bought the tools, started a business, advertised this business, buys decent tools to do a decent job, they wouldn't buy from car boot. And I'm telling you now, these are the kind of DIY kind of tradespeople that will just pick up a tool because they found it cheap or they think it's a really good deal. And as I said, they're probably, you've seen the quality of people that go and buy tools over there. We've got the video evidences. I don't have to say nothing. You can just look at them. These are not the kind of tradespeople you would let in your house to do work anyway. So I wouldn't certainly have them in my house to do work. And I'm pretty sure if people were aware that a tradesperson is not that's not classified as a tradesperson. For me, that is just a handyman, DIYer, or he's got no intention of staying in business, probably not even a registered business, just goes around, does a bit of handy jobs. And for him, it's attractive because if he's picking up a Milwaukee or DeWalt tool for £20 at the car boot sale and it's £300 or £200 in the shop, why wouldn't he buy it? Because, you know, there is, for the honest tradespeople, you see some tradespeople don't always have branded stuff. Some would even work with a Ryobi or some other, you know, sort of low-price brand. There's no harm in that at the end of the day. If just go, tradespeople generally, honest ones, will probably go and buy the cheaper alternatives and work their way up to better brands. Yeah. You know, so the people that I see there, honestly, I don't see them as tradespeople. So that's people got the wrong perception when they say, "Oh, tradespeople go and buy it." They're not tradespeople.
But you want to talk about what can trades do? Honest people should be reporting those people.
Yeah.
You know, and there's different conduits for that, isn't there? You can speak to the police, local police, safe neighbourhoods teams. Doesn't matter what area in the country you're in. You could also speak to your local MPs, your councillors. In their safe neighbourhoods teams, there's ward panel meetings. You know, they can raise up at their ward panel meetings, which any member of the public can go to attend. They can ask to attend with the ward panel chair for their local safe neighbourhoods teams. They can then go into that, and then they can say, you know, raise the issue within there, and that's what people should be doing.
A lot of people don't know what to do as well. This is another problem. The first thing they'll do is probably call 101 or whatever the number is, or 999, and say, "Oh, we've had stolen tools and my van got broken into." So they don't even know the whole process of who to contact.
Well, certainly within the Met, you can go on to Find My Ward, Metropolitan Police, go on their website, tap in your postcode, tap in your road, tap in an area, and it will tell you, it will give you a link straight to your ward. It will even list the officers that are on your ward, the sergeant, the PCs, the PCSOs that are on that ward. There'll be a contact number and an email on there. So you can go on to that. And I know certainly from running wards, if our inbox kept getting full up with people complaining about a boot sale on my ward, you can't ignore it. You're going to have to do something about it.
It's going to be a community priority, which is what we're here to do. We're here to serve the community. But I think, Shweb, you were touching on, and I think, Dave, you're probably going to answer it before me anyway, you know, what do we need to do for when reporting, you know, what processes are in place? So, Dave, what do you think?
What, as in when you're coming across the boot sales, or
let's say you're a safe neighbourhood sergeant. Let's say that a member of the public comes to you and says, in your inbox, I think my tools have been stolen down there. Being sold there, and these are what are the process that we're going to follow from a safe neighbourhood side of things?
We've been there and we've done that, and we've only got one boot sale on my cluster of wards. We've only got one boot sale, which, touch wood, doesn't seem to be a problem. I'm not going to mention it, but we do go there regularly. They don't know we go there regularly. Again, it's something we don't advertise. We are out there doing it, but we don't advertise. We've not had any issues. I'm aware that a lot of these boot sales are hiding stuff anyway within vans and stuff like that, and we're having to change the way we work now as they're changing. But 100% report to your local team. Your local team will look into that, and they'll do a recce down there, and they'll go down there in plain clothes, and they'll have a look to see if there is an issue. And then obviously you'd like to see them doing what.
I mean, if there's a crime that's being committed at that time, you dial 999 and you'll get the response. If it's not being committed at that time, you might call 101. There's other crimes, other things happening within that area at that time. It would depend where it falls in the priority list
that's
for them.
Key, isn't it? I think that's key.
And you know, let's be honest. You know, all forces, Metropolitan Police included, has to prioritise what it's going to deal with and when. And the call operators will make that decision at that time. So that's why sometimes if there's a crime not being committed, it's important maybe to send an email, look on the Safe Neighbourhoods website and contact your Safe Neighbourhood team, and they will be responsible for, you know, returning your email or getting back in touch with you. It might not be immediate, but they will get back in touch with you.
Right, from the trades perspective as well, tool theft is not a small crime, right? So it affects your van, your tool insurance, your livelihood. It's so much involved in tool theft. It's not just losing a drill or a spanner. It's pretty much everything that you lost. You lose your jobs. The impact of it. Yeah, so it's got to be somewhere up there now. It can't just be, as I said, we've shown how important it is to tradespeople. You know, there's not many people that are coming towards. There's a massive skill gap, and people are just getting put off by just tool theft.
I don't think from our perspective that we see it as a small crime. I think any police officer, community support officer, we understand the impact. You know, we're at that level with you. I think the question that you need to be asking to make that change will be your local MPs, councillors, government. You know, that's where the message needs to come and continue to be pushed. Because
violence will always trump.
It's sad to say. It's sad to say. I mean, I don't want to say that any tool theft or motor vehicle crime isn't important.
Yeah.
But at the moment, where that features in levels of importance, murder, fraud, GBHs, violent crimes, anything like that, it's still going to be below that until change is made further up, through government policy.
And we can afford to deal with everything. And we can afford to deal with everything. Yeah, and I think most trades would get that, to be honest. They understand that. But that still doesn't stop you getting frustrated when you're standing on a Sunday morning looking at your tools and you're not getting police responding.
Which goes back to, if we mark the tools, we can arrest that minority. Would have a big impact.
I've always said it. There's only a handful of them doing it. When I was here a year ago, I said it in the same podcast. There's only a handful of them. There's millions of tradespeople.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And these handful of people, if they could just deal with them, actually put them away, I think will make a huge difference. But at the end of the day, police can go to about hundreds of car boot sales, and if they can't see anything marked correctly, because everyone puts initials on them, that doesn't really help as well. Looking at those tools, in that lot that we've got sitting there in the police station, £500,000 stuff sitting over there. And, 60% of them were just initials.
Yeah.
The rest of them weren't marked. And we found a few items that had some sort of markings on them. Some had SelectaDNA. Some of them were literally company labels that they didn't peel off. And they got this stuff back because you've got to trace it back to them, and this is the only way.
I mean, some still had delivery notes on, didn't they?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Do you think, obviously, given the challenges that police have with resource, and obviously thinking about what the national priorities are as well, within the trades, I think from some of the tool marking events, you hear all the time, they're actually going to these car boot sales themselves, and they're giving us intelligence at the tool marking events. But how can we really utilise that kind of information and provide that to the police? So actually it's building this intelligence picture to retrospective police forces, wherever those car boot sales are, rather than them holding it and then waiting until they're at an event or they're having a conversation with another tradie saying, I went down, we had it today. I won't name the car boot, but the guy that said, I went there last weekend and I was looking for any of my tools that were there. And the feed, they're the eyes, they're going there, and it's like, how can we feed that into police?
Crime Stoppers. They can call into Crime Stoppers. That intelligence will find its way through to inevitably.
And it pushes it up, doesn't it? The priority, it pushes it back up again.
It does push it back up again, which goes back to, I keep saying it, but people need to work with us collectively to make change.
Yeah.
We're here, we'll do our part. And if we're not doing our part, then you'll hold us to account. I understand that. You've got SelectaDNA companies, you've got yourself on board as well.
Yeah.
There's lots of other companies that are on board as well, but everybody needs to do it. Don't just talk about it.
Well, prime example was at the last boot sale, and Robert Jenrick, MP, was there. And a member of the public came up and started shouting horror in his face and saying, "You're 2 years too late. You're looking at the wrong one. You should be looking at other boot sales." And he said, very calmly, "Thank you for that, sir. Well, which one should we look at?" "Well, that's not for me to say, is it?" And I said, "That's exactly why we're 2 years too late. Just tell us."
But you can't be everywhere.
No.
You can't be everywhere, and absolutely,
are our eyes and
everyone needs
ears,
to work
and
together.
And we can't solve this problem.
No.
Just the police. This isn't just the police that can solve it. It needs to be a complete approach to it, and engaging with social media influencers and with private companies is part of that approach. That's how
it's that education and the awareness. And I think you and the other kind of trades have achieved is breaking down those barriers between the trades community and police.
Oh, 100%.
Like some of the tool marking event, like the banter, the conversations.
And that's how it should be.
That is how it should be.
Yeah.
It
I mean, there's
really
nothing
is.
to be... If you're not doing anything wrong, why would you be scared
Yeah.
of the police?
Yeah.
Why would you avoid them?
Yeah.
And I
They're
think that's
humans
why
at the end of the day, and I've got no problem
Yeah.
with speaking to them.
But I think
because
it's also important to come
You
to the
gotta
events
understand.
for that reason.
Yeah,
It's almost like
it's a community event.
Yeah,
So
totally.
you go and... I mean, how much fun have we had on these events?
I don't know, mate. I'm working. I'm
Yeah,
professional.
of course you have. But
But
honestly...
also,
and-
I think the trades need that because
Yes.
there's the mental health impact of
Yeah.
tool theft as well. And
Yeah.
it's like, we know people come to these events
Yeah.
and we see regulars coming down because they actually enjoy that moment to connect.
What, and have your
to-
shoes glued to the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never again.
Yeah, that's
Got to be
true.
careful around me.
Yeah. Don't trust
But it
Shred
is,
with some
it's-
CT1.
You know, they do. They turn up. They don't just
that was
turn
Dan
up.
pointing me towards doing it.
Yeah.
They don't just turn up and get a free kit. I mean,
No,
you know, some of
no.
these events, they've turned up, they've got a free kit worth £50. They've
Yeah.
walked away with a £200 toolbox free of charge, courtesy of a company that's given it
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
And then stood there. They don't just get their kit and go.
No.
They stand there for an hour or so and have a chat. And they meet all their mates that turn up, and it's a good community
It's an
spirit.
opportunity
I
to
know.
change, to
And to
make
offload.
change.
And to
Yeah,
offload as
everyone
well.
everyone can contribute to that change.
But Dave's just saying it. How many people or tradespeople do you actually know yourself? How good is that as well? Do you know what I mean?
I know.
So the relationship you built with these people,
Yeah.
you see them. They actually come down, even if they're not working. They'll come down to the event because
Yeah.
they know Dave's there.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
They're
They'll come
phoning me
down.
at the weekends on the
Are you at this event? And they like turning up and just seeing and speaking to them. You saw today as well. There was a few people there that actually had marked their tools, but they still came down
Yeah,
because we
they
were
did.
there.
Yeah.
They did.
And that is what it's about. And then they say, "Oh, Dave's down there." So yeah, he'll be there. Mark will be here. So
And
they all sort of came
like a
down.
community event, isn't
Just
it?
for the record, Dave will be at the installer show as well.
Yeah.
You can come and have a picture with him.
We got Mark.
Get his
Dave,
autograph.
both.
Oh, and Mark, of course.
Yeah, come and get a picture with us.
Yeah.
Glue Dave's shoes to the floor. Not a problem.
Brilliant.
But that's how it should be, and I don't see anything wrong with it. And bringing the trades and the police together on this is amazing. And I wish I really speak to other police forces as well and have build this relationship.
Just
But
get
I
on
just
board.
haven't got the opportunity
No.
or capacity in my
Why
own
not?
place to deal with it.
Why?
But I would love to.
We
So
are
it's
getting
me-
stuff in our inbox. aren't
We're
now?
starting
We
to
are
get,
starting
you know,
to get stuff.
there are other forces that
Yeah.
are starting
Brilliant.
to contact us, and you can see action from them across the board. And I think that's because it's been highlighted more and more that this is what the community, the trades community wants. You know, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
So let's deal with it. Let's deal with it together. And so they're starting to get on board.
Like the Sussex Crime Commissioner as well. She gave me her number and she said,
Yeah.
WhatsApp me anytime and let's do some more events
Yeah.
around Sussex. And I want to get involved in more of these operations. And
Yeah.
for me to link them then with Mark and Dave and say, like, this is how these guys done it, speak to them,
Yeah.
see if you want to arrange something together. You know, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And it's so good if they start
It's-
doing that
yeah.
actively.
I
And
mean,
it will
she-
just be a message for the others because up north,
Yeah.
we get a lot of problems up there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how those police forces work.
I mean, she was stood outside Wicks, wasn't she? And she was actively engaging with
Yeah.
tradespeople going up to their vans. Have you got tools? Have you got
Yeah.
tools? You know, and she loved it. She really enjoyed it.
Mm.
And again, it is about that engagement and getting them involved, not just funding. And, you know, it's about actually having that community engagement with the people.
And understanding,
And-
getting a
yeah.
feel for it, getting
Yeah.
those true life stories,
Yeah.
you know, and then realising why it is so important and how it does affect people.
But look up online, find your crime commissioner, find
Yeah.
your local councillor, local MP, not put the pressure, but contact them and highlight how important it is to you. And if enough people from the community do that,
Yeah.
then they will try and take action.
Yeah.
If everybody sits there and says, you know, oh, you know, police don't do anything, no one cares. Well, we do care, but you need to tell us, and then you need to mark your stuff so that we can catch people.
Yeah.
So, and I'd love to be able to sit here and talk about stuff we've got planned and operate. We don't
The-
want to
the
go into
net-
That'll
that.
be the next
Just trust me,
episode.
we are
Yeah.
doing stuff. And
The
there's
net
a
is
lot.
closing.
Yeah.
The net is closing. You know, on those bad people. If they're, for whatever reason, see this, it should be clear that we will catch you.
Yeah. They've got to get it right every time. We only need to get it right once.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, I think. You know, they've got to make sure they get away with it every single time.
Yeah.
We just need to catch them that once.
And this is the thing, and marking your tools obviously makes that difference in convicting them and There's so much more to it which people don't understand, and then you see the bigger picture of it, why it's so important. And if you've got the opportunity where companies are actually paying for these kits, and all you've got to do is turn up and grab one, and you still don't make the effort. Like, I had some tradespeople, we were doing an event, and they only live 10, 15 minutes away, and they're like, when are you doing one in our area? Mate, can't you drive down and pick one up? And you're asking me, can we, like, how does it work?
Yeah,
I don't
you don't want
understand
people to do that. You want people to show some
Yes.
actual enthusiasm and actually come and do it themselves.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're going to attend, get one of these kits, buy one, actually mark your tools with it.
Yeah, because your tools will end up in a car boot sale before we even do an event near you. So don't wait for an event. Honestly, go and buy these kits. £1 a tool is not a lot of money.
Yeah, you can go online and buy them.
You can get a discount online with using a code, but you can get it online and do it straight away. Don't wait for us to come to an event. If an event is near you, we advertise it. Just come down and grab a kit. You know, this is how it's got to be. We can't be everywhere.
You might even get a free gift and a free bite to eat as well.
Yeah.
You're down there.
Or a pair of boots.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really need more and more companies coming forward. So we've got some really, really good big companies.
He says that. You have given out free boots at these events before, haven't you? There's been free boots given out. It depends what companies come forward. But yeah.
I remember the one in Bow. We had about £10,000 worth of gifts that we gave away to people.
So what companies have you got on board?
So it started off with CT1.
Do you remember? Yeah, it was literally we were sat around the table, and do you know what? We think back to that meeting, right? We were all. I was obviously talking from a SelectaDNA perspective of we've got a solution to a problem, but we need to collaborate. And then we had the tradesperson in the room who was, representing the victim really, and the community and the education and awareness that you've been doing. And then we had CT1.
ITS.
ITS, Power Tools, yourself.
Yeah.
And we all just talked about tool theft for probably, 2 hours and say, right, okay, well, let's work together. How are we going to do... Oh, no, and on the tools were there, Lee Wilcox.
Lee was there, yeah. And Nicola from CT.
Yeah. So it was like having a conversation of, we're not sure how we navigate this together, but somehow we're going to do it. That was a year ago. Yeah. Literally, June last year it was, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was right after the rally,
yeah.
And since that point, we've had how many... multiple tool marking events, different locations. So we've got Wix, we've got CT1,
ITS
Power Tools,
Blip Insurance, Rhino Insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many of them.
JJ Roofing as well. They did. I mean, there's so many different companies that are part of that.
So if you're looking for, what can you do about it, companies can still come forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, companies can come forward. And on kind of the other side of that as well, we're working with hire companies. So hire companies who are providing equipment to very large construction companies, rail companies, critical infrastructure companies, where their kit had turned up at some of the raids. It was in the second one, wasn't it? So it impacts them as well. But they're now marking them at the point that they're being hired out to these customers. So almost at source. That's what we want. Because, again, that's giving you the opportunity to identify it as to who it belongs to.
And it's not just trades, again. Retailers. There's a shoplifting.
Yeah.
Tesco's was at one of the events as well, weren't they? So they showed a lot of interest in this, and they saw a lot of product at the car boot, which again...
Well, Tesco's aren't selling their product at the car boot sales. Other people are selling their products, which they've stolen.
Yeah. But that's exactly it. And again, Tesco's is a great example because they're...
Salmon.
They're really
salmon
proactive.
No, that was Asda. I don't know what it was.
No, but they're and retail, you're quite right. They're very proactive in doing exactly the same. So marking it before it's even been sold, so that they can link it back to the shop that it was marked at and where it kind of originated from. But there's loads. If a company wants to get on board, get in touch. And
or contact your Safer Neighbours teams or your crime commissioner and say we want to get on board, and you'll be filtered into the system then where we can actually arrange
signpost
that.
them
That's
to
right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But this is the beauty of it. We can really only recommend products that are secured by design, and this is a secure by design product. we can't afford to keep funding these or going to our safer neighbourhood boards for funding.
All the local authorities can't do that either.
All the time.
They're all struggling.
Purse strings are tight at the moment.
Yeah.
So the more these companies that get on board, the better. And we will certainly try and get to as many events as we can and support them as well and show how it's done.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as I said, look back on the petition, it was about a year ago. Look at the description. It was about car boot sales, and also it said in there to deal with this, issue a £10,000 fine to the organisers, because they need to be held accountable for what's being sold at the car boot.
Yeah.
Because they are taking money from these stores and letting them in. If they were held accountable, if they were arrested, if they were questioned, why are you letting this happen? Why are you? And if they start turning these people away from the car boots, it really will be a way forward for the police to deal with it, with their budget constraints and a lot of stuff. So rather than constantly going from, because these thieves, they change locations all the time. We've seen them in different car boots myself. Well, we've been seeing it as well. One day in this car boot, the other one they'll be in a different town in a different car boot, because car boots are 7 days a week. So if you just get the organisers and say, we don't want to see these power tools being sold here or any of this retail stolen stuff, these are the prohibited items, don't want to see them in this place, and held them accountable. Honestly, they should be questionable and arrested. So once that happens, it will put them off, and they will turn them back, say, mate, can't be here, mate, sorry, get out. And that sort of turns a lot of the problems away. And this is what we need to do. People think, right, it's going to go on Facebook, it's going to go on eBay. I get it. But to list an item on eBay that they've stolen is very difficult. A, it's traceable. Second, they've got to take a picture, write a description.
Oh, it's long, isn't it?
Then they've got to
There's
wait for somebody to be
traceability as well.
interested in it.
Yeah.
And they've got 10 of the same drill. So when do they put all 10 at the same time? How can they do that?
Well, some of them do these live feeds, don't they, where they've got all these tools and
They're
but
doing it,
generally
but they don't sell it as quick. It slows the whole process down for them.
There's postage, there's all sorts of other processes
And then
involved.
you got to meet the guy, make a time. I'll see me at 5 o'clock. Meet me here, and then he might not want it because he doesn't like the look of it, or he didn't expect what it was on the picture. Then he comes back with the tool, and then he's got to start all over again. It is difficult. Honestly, I've tried selling just a normal item, and I find it difficult to even make time for somebody. But this process can all slow down a lot, and this is where the numbers are going to come down. Or this is when vans are going to stop getting broken into. We can't stop theft, and that's the end of it. We can't do it. It's impossible. Theft's been since man. It will never stop. But if we can reduce this crime, it's the biggest thing. And always go to the nest. If I've pointed out a car boot sale a year ago, we're seeing these things there all across the country. Why are the organisers not being held responsible? Anyone watching this, yourself, obviously, I'll speak to you quite regularly. I'll speak to Mark. But around the whole country, you've got people that can make these decisions. There's other police forces that probably will be watching this video. Why can't they go there and get these organisers? There's only one organiser behind them, and some of them, they're running multiple sites.
They can go into the local planning, and inevitably, obviously, the boot sales require some sort of planning consent via the local authority, and that then goes via, if you want to raise it, go into the councillors, go into the local authorities. If enough people do that, then they can start looking at the licences and looking at those things as well. And certainly within Havering, that's work that's going on behind the scenes at the moment as well, which we'll be pursuing as well.
And legislation changes. The government are now looking at it, aren't they? And we know there's stuff trying to go through Parliament at the moment. There's a few variations to bills that have been put forward. So hopefully the right people are now talking about it in the right places. And unfortunately, it is a slow process. It's never quick.
It is a slow process.
So
but
everything we can do in the meantime,
exactly,
to slow that down. So I think the message from us really is, ideally insure your tools. I get it. Some people can't afford to insure them, but get some good locks on your vans. Get tool vaults, tool safes, inside your vans. Just that extra layer, slow them down.
Mark your tools.
Mark them,
and then companies and everyone to get on board, with signposts that we've got tool marking, property marking at the location, at hotels. At boot sales, we'll do the enforcement, we'll do the compliance checks, we'll do our bit as well. And then that should all ripple and make a big enough impact across the...
And also report it, because, again, at the tool marking event, I didn't bother reporting it. Well, actually, you guys need that.
We have to. We're intelligence-based. Without that report, and without that, we can't... One, it hasn't happened if you haven't reported it. And that's what people can do.
Yeah, exactly. That's so important. We see that all the time.
And have you noticed recently as well, thieves watch our stuff because they've changed tactics, haven't they? So the news goes out
they watch it.
Oh yeah, they're proper on top of it. So where they used to turn up to car boot sales, and some of them, you know, they literally changed complete tactics now. You see, they just drop the tools off and hide the van.
And
You can't get away with it.
It's great to know they know me as well.
They think they're
you know
smart.
you're doing the right
Yeah.
thing then, when they recognise you.
The thing is, we know who you are.
Yeah, they know
We
who I
know
am
who
now.
you are. If you think you're going to get away with this and there's impunity around it, you're mistaken.
It's just a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time
just a
before
matter
we
of time.
catch you. And that one small thing that you get caught for, I guarantee you, will link you to multiple other offences, and we'll have the big picture.
Yeah.
We've got the big picture. We're able to do that.
And there's only so many times you can say, I wasn't aware it was stolen. Really, sir? You said that 3 months ago when you appeared here, you know, and
The
the
same
time before.
receipt.
And yeah. So, yeah.
And in most cases, when you do catch these people, you see how many other crimes they're actually linked
Yeah.
to, which is even more shocking.
It's quite scary.
It is scary. They were involved in certain types of crimes similar to what they're doing now, and it's just they move on to the next thing. So to get them moved on from stealing tools to something else, which they will do, they'll find some other way
They will.
to steal something else. But if we can, as tradespeople, honestly fight this and get them off the tools, I think it'd be great. And so far, we are doing a good job working together, and I think going forward, we can see a massive reduction in it. If the car boots are dealt with, people mark their tools,
Yeah.
it will automatically start putting people off. And get decent locks on your vans. A lot of the vans that get broken into, I see the pictures all the time, and I've noticed a certain trend. 60% of them don't even have a lock on them. They think they're okay. They see all this stuff online, you know, but they don't put a lock on it. Put something on there, because thieves will always go for an easier target. They
No
don't
line
want to
through.
go for the effort of
Yeah.
going for a deadlock there when they can go to a van that's next door, got no locks on it. They'll know they'll
But
be
you
in it.
hear it all the time, don't you?
They do the rounds.
They'll see, like, you know, Stolen Tools UK have shown pictures with roofs cut open and all sorts. And people go, oh, what's the point? If they're going to get in it, they're going to get in it. But you make it as difficult for them as possible. You slow them down.
Yeah.
And they will. They'll drive along. It's like the house with the burglar alarm and the one that hasn't. They're going to go for the one that hasn't over the one that has, you know.
Yeah.
And let that be someone else's van, not your van. If you put all those locks on it, they'll literally move on to the next one. But it keeps them out there longer. It slows them down at the end of the day.
Are you wasting time? I think that some of you probably are, and I have a solution for you. Nobody wants to do any type of admin. Now, I have a solution for you, and it is called Tradify. It's a fully automated job scheduling, invoicing, and quoting all in one place. Now, that software is going to save you 12 hours a week, and all by using a simple software solution. Now, you can try it for 2 weeks, absolutely free, no cards needed, and you'll even get support in person from Tradify themselves. Now, when you're done, you can always come back to me and thank me, but just enjoy the extra 12 hours that you're going to gain from just using the software.
Just quickly, just to wrap everything up now, because we did take a lot of time. SelectaDNA, can you just talk us through the product very quickly of how the microdots work and what's in the box, what you get, all that kind of stuff, so that tradespeople watching can, and how to get hold of one, actually.
We haven't got the UV torch.
UV torch.
Oh,
I've got one.
He's got one,
there we go.
There you go.
Right.
I've been holding on to it just for you.
Oh, do you want
Thank
the...
you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
I think you'll be able to get something on your phone later on. I can send you... I've got a clip of it zooming in. I'll text it over to you, yeah.
It's got a lovely sound bite on it as well, isn't it, Sweb?
What?
On your clip.
I'll send you a really good one, actually, with this voiceover.
Oh, don't.
You're under arrest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You've not heard it yet, have
No.
you?
You haven't say anything.
I'll show it to you, innit?
Oh, yeah.
Right, so basically the kit's here. This is a tools and equipment kit, but it's basically like a retail kit. So this is what you can buy at ITS, Power Tools, for example, or Wix. Can you see it there? And then this kit here is one that we use at the events. So again, in terms of actually the contents, it's very similar, just a kind of smaller, like event pack. So each kit provides the ability to mark up to 50 items. Within the kit, you get, I'll open up this one actually. So you've got the SelectaDNA, which is the solution which is used to actually mark the tools. You can see there. your applicators, your registration card. So really quick and easy registration, scan the QR code, and then it will talk you through the process. And then just behind here, you've got lots of different stickers that can not only go on the tools that you've marked, but also on the back of the vans. We talked about having that deterrent and making, prevention and deterrence. So if it's in a workshop, you've got window stickers, and then you've got lots of stickers there that can actually go on the tools that you've marked. So the idea is that you'd mark your tools, apply the solution to hard to reach areas, cracks and crevices. If possible, in those cracks and crevices and hard to reach areas, if you've got a lighter area, that's always really useful. And then you'd register it, put your stickers on, and you're good to go. So all of these parts are really important in terms of the deterrent, the marking effectively and correctly, and also registration. What we don't want is somebody to take a kit, mark the tools, not register it, because actually from a policing perspective, that's not really helpful, because we then still don't know who it belongs to. So if you can see within that solution, what you've got is a UV tracer. So any item that's marked with SelectaDNA will illuminate blue. You've got the synthetic DNA, which actually runs throughout the solution itself. But you've also got, if you can see there, these tiny little black dots, which are called microdots, and there are thousands of them within the solution itself. And I think you're going to share a picture of what one of those microdots looks like under a microscope. But essentially, the police would say they've got a drill. They would scan it with a UV torch, as you can see here. You see that?
Yeah, that's there.
Yeah. And then they'd use a microscope here to actually further interrogate that microdot. And then within that, they would then be able to identify the code, put it into that database it's registered to, and instantly identify who the owner of that item is. So 3 key components: mark your tools, put your stickers on, register your kit. And then the beauty of the registration as well is it's on there for life. So if you needed another kit, you simply add a new kit. If you sold those tools on, you can transfer ownership to the new owner. And if your tools were stolen, you can then change the status of those tools from in possession to stolen. So the police can then, instantly know what the status is should they recover them.
It's a good way of listing all your tools for insurance reasons
Yeah.
as well, isn't it? You can list them all in one place.
Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. You've got the option of uploading images, adding serial numbers on there as well. So for insurance purposes, it's perfect.
Let's be honest, tradespeople, probably one of the laziest people ever. They won't even register the tool,
No, exactly.
let alone mark
Which
it
trade,
and then
sorry?
register on there.
Come on, which trade?
Well, I'll give myself an example. I've been one of those people that haven't registered the tools, and I don't do it usually. But now I've got the idea of how it works, and I've started to do it. I'll be honest with you, but people out there, they're in a rush, getting the job done, go buy a tool. You're not going to sit there and do it.
Oh, as in if they're purchasing a tool, registering it with the manufacturer, like the warranty.
Yeah,
do you
but
mean?
it's so important to do that.
Yes.
Because not only SelectaDNA and the asset register here,
Yeah.
phoning up manufacturers can also give you a lot of information. And trust me, these thieves that steal the stuff, not every one of them would rub the serial numbers off, because we've seen it still with serial numbers on it, because they are trying to sell it fast and they know it's going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So you have to register it with your the manufacturer as well. It's very important.
Yeah, it's really important for us as well. Because
you must
we'll
have
make
seen
those
so many tools.
inquiries
Yeah.
with the manufacturers.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
one of our evidential routes to be able to catch the person that shouldn't be in possession of that.
So it's important
How
to do
time
it.
consuming is it?
It is time. It's so time consuming, but we'll do it because that's our job.
Yeah.
But so if we will take the time to do that, then we would hope that you would take the time to
Yeah.
mark things and register your tools and equipment with manufacturers. But like you said earlier, Claire, it's not just tools. It could be anything from motorbikes to your own personal property. There's different packs and different items available. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I'm a tradie, I'm going to do my tools. Well, what about my mum, my dad, my sister, my brother? They've got other items of values as well. Just look up the products and look at it. It's a tool. People might own a really nice motorbike. If it was to be stolen, you'd probably be devastated. Now, I know anyone in the biker community would feel that way as well.
Especially the parts of cars and bikes
parts
that get
and
stripped down
Yeah.
and there's
exactly.
no link.
Put a tracker on it. mark different parts of it. It's items in your home of, particular, value and so forth. It's really important people do that. We're more likely to get that item back to you if it's of value to you.
Mm-hmm.
We've had cameramen and people, film crews coming out and filming the boots house stuff, and they're taking kits away to mark all their sound equipment and their video equipment up. So anything.
Let's close the door on the criminals. Let's tighten the net. Together we can do that.
And I think with expanding it to things like that, if you look at residential premises, it's like, right, there's a sticker up in the window, or you might have a street sign in there. If there's a collective effort with residents,
it works,
and it's then again enhancing that deterrent. So yeah, absolutely, it's not just limited to tools, it could be absolutely anything.
And so, like the catalytic converter theft, that was quite a big thing back then. Even my catalytic converter got nicked when I bought my Vico van, because it had quite a high clearance and went underneath and cut it. But they do move on to other things.
We know the people that are involved in that are now onto the tools. We know that.
Yeah,
but they're not just specific to tools either.
And once you put them off the tools, they move. As I said, they'll move on to something else. And this is where we need to carry on doing the work we're doing to make it harder for them and too hot to handle. So they think, just move on to something else.
We didn't have this traction with the cat converter stuff. I mean, my team were doing cat converter marking events. We didn't have this traction. I think they've almost picked with the wrong group now, the trades group.
Yeah.
And that we're now getting that traction. And soon it will make it too difficult for them.
And finally, I'd like to say to all the tradespeople out there who have got big accounts, big reaches, to share anything that's positive coming from the police, because it's so important to share that message out that encourages them, number one, to do more. You understand? Don't just have a negative effect on it. They've got their own restraints, but they are doing stuff. And honestly, I speak to loads of them, and they really want to make a change. So when they do have these wins, when they do raids and they do make arrests and they do things for the tradespeople, I think they really need to encourage them and, say some positive stuff out there for them, because this, at the end of the day, they also deserve the praise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know? And not a lot of it's been done, and it upsets me to see so many negative comments from some people.
Yeah,
and like, you have no idea what is going on behind the scenes. The work that we are putting in and working together, and I'm trying to get them all together to actually do. And you've seen action. You wanted action, you saw action. But at the end of the day, what's on the other end of it? 500,000 sitting there, you haven't marketed tools.
Yeah.
And what are you complaining about?
Yeah.
So it works hand in hand. You've got to work together. And honestly, first step is mark your tools and then wait for the results to come, and you will see things happen.